Sentient Technologies. Sentient Technologies was an American technology business that specialized in artificial intelligence and had its headquarters in San Francisco. The company that would later be known as Sentient was established in 2007 and has raised more than $143 million in funding since its start. Sentient was the artificial intelligence startup with the highest funding in the world as of the year 2016. E-commerce, online content, and trading were the primary focuses of the company. 2019 marked the end of the company's existence. If we want artificial intelligence to demonstrate actual sentience, it must be able to do more than just use natural language. It must also demonstrate the ability to think, perceive, and feel. Originally, Sentient carried out its covert operations under the name Genetic Finance Holding Ltd. Antoine Blondeau, Babak Hajat, and Adam Chayer established the company in 2007. These three men were responsible for the development of the natural language technology that was used in Apple's Siri voice recognition software. Both a $2 million Series A round of fundraising and a $38 million Series B round of finance led by Horizons Ventures were successfully raised by Sentient. In November 2014, Sentient came out of stealth mode and announced that the company had received $103.5 million in Series C funding. Sentient collaborated with the Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology to assess blood pressure in intensive care unit patients to determine the likelihood that these individuals will develop sepsis. Research on the technique was carried out at St. Michael's Hospital in Toronto, in collaboration with the University of Toronto. Additionally, Sentient Investment Management, a subsidiary of Sentient, was able to automate its financial services with the use of this platform, which was quite successful. The year 2015 saw the launch of Sentient's AI-powered visual intelligence and personalization platform, which made use of both deep learning and online learning. Mark Elfenbein was brought on board at Sentient in 2016 to serve as the company's chief revenue officer. Sentient's first retail customer for this service was Shoes.com, an online shoe store with its headquarters in Vancouver. Since it first opened its doors, Sentient has worked with additional retail customers. Sentient Ascend is a SaaS AI-based conversion rate optimization tool that was launched in September 2016. It is mostly built on the same AI algorithms that are used in the company's finance technology intellectual property. The year 2019 saw the dissolution of Sentient Technologies, which resulted in the sale of Sentient Ascend to Evolve and the majority of the company's AI intellectual property to Cognizant. Technology. Combining evolutionary computation, which is analogous to the process of biological evolution, and deep learning, which is founded on the structure of nervous systems, is what Sentient's platform was all about. The algorithms used by Sentient made use of as many as 2 million CPU cores and 5,000 GPU cards spread across 4,000 physical locations all over the world, making it one of the largest AI-focused systems that have ever been built. The purpose of a staged illusion, as any skilled magician will tell you, is to look completely convincing, to make whatever is happening on stage seem so real that the typical audience member would have no way of figuring out how the illusion works. If this were not the case, it would not be considered an illusion, and the person performing the illusion would effectively be out of work. The Lambda chatbot, which made news a few weeks ago after a prominent engineer claimed the conversational AI had attained sentience, is the illusion in this example. Google is the illusionist, and the Lambda chatbot is the illusion that it created. That is to say, contrary to the widespread enthusiasm and rumors that have been circulating on social media and in the media in general, as well as the assertions made by the engineer, Lambda is not a sentient being. How could it be demonstrated that AI possesses sentience? This is, of course, a question that is worth $1 million, but there is no solution to this problem right now. Linda is a language model-based chat agent that was created to generate fluid phrases and conversations that appear and sound fully natural. The fluidity stands in stark contrast to the stiff and clunky AI chatbots of the past, which frequently resulted in irritating or inadvertently funny conversations. Perhaps it was this difference that pleased people so much, which is understandable given how many people were impressed by it. The normality bias that we have tells us that the only sentient beings capable of being thus articulate are other human beings. Therefore, when experiencing this level of articulacy coming from artificial intelligence, AI, it is natural to feel as though the AI must undoubtedly be sentient. Instead of only being able to utilize language in an extremely natural way, artificial intelligence would need to be able to think, sense, and feel for it to be considered sentient. On the other hand, the scientific community is split on the topic of whether or not it is even possible for an AI system to be capable of achieving these traits. Some researchers, such as Ray Kurzweil, think that the human body is made up of thousands of programs, and that if we could only figure out all of those programs, we could create an artificial intelligence that possesses sentience. Others, however, do not agree for the following reasons. 1. Human intelligence and functionality cannot be mapped to a finite number of algorithms. And 2. Even if a system replicates all of that functionality in some form, it cannot be seen as truly sentient because consciousness is not something that can be artificially created. Therefore, it cannot be considered sentient. Aside from this disagreement among academics, there are currently no generally recognized criteria for establishing whether or not an AI system possesses sentience. The renowned Turing test, which is garnering a lot of attention on social media right now, was developed only to determine whether or not a machine is capable of exhibiting seemingly intelligent conduct that is on par with, or indistinguishable from, that of a human being. It is not able to provide us with adequate information to tell us anything about the level of consciousness possessed by a machine, or lack thereof. Consequently, even though it is abundantly evident that Lambda has achieved a perfect score on the Turing test, this does not, on its own, demonstrate the existence of a self-aware consciousness. The only thing that it establishes is that it is capable of giving the impression that it possesses a self-aware mind, which is precisely what it has been programmed to do. When, if ever, will artificial intelligence develop sentience? At this time, we have access to several applications that provide evidence of artificial narrow intelligence. A sort of artificial intelligence known as AI is built to excel at just one specific activity. Software that can recognize faces, disease, mapping tools, content, recommendation filters, and even software that can play chess are all examples of this type of technology. Artificial General Intelligence, or AGI, sometimes known as Deep AI, is the type of artificial intelligence that is designed to mirror human intelligence and is capable of applying such intelligence to a range of diverse tasks. Linda is an example of this type of AI. To be considered sentient, artificial intelligence would need to go beyond the intelligence required to complete tasks and display perception, feelings, and possibly even free will. Having said that, it is feasible that we will never create a sentient artificial intelligence because it depends on how we define certain terms. Even if everything went perfectly, it would take at least another 5 to 10 years even in the best case scenario. This is assuming that we could describe the previously mentioned ideas, such as consciousness and free will, in a form that is generally standardized and objectively characterized. If only there were one AI to rule them all. The story of Lambda brings to mind the time when the production team working on Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings trilogy developed an artificial intelligence that they fittingly termed Massive to piece together the epic battle scenes. Massive was tasked with creating a convincing simulation of thousands of individual computer-generated imagery, CGI, soldiers battling it out on the battlefield, with each one functioning as an autonomous unit rather than merely repeating the same motions. In the second movie, The Two Towers, there is a fight scene in which the antagonists of the movie unleash a unit of huge mammoths to attack the protagonists of the movie. According to the legend, when the CGI soldiers playing the good men initially tested out this scenario, upon seeing the mammoths, they fled in the opposite direction rather than battling the bad guys. This occurred while the team was trying out this sequence for the first time. It wasn't long before people started spreading the rumor that this was a clever response, with the CGI soldiers supposedly deciding that they couldn't win this war and opting to flee instead to save their lives. The soldiers were fleeing in the opposite direction owing to a lack of data, and not because they had suddenly developed some type of sentience on their own. After making a few adjustments, the group determined that the issue had been resolved. The apparent display of intelligence was a flaw in the system rather than a feature. However, when things are as they are right now, the idea of presuming sentience is both attractive and intriguing. After all, we all like watching a fantastic magic show, keeping a watchful eye on the things that we yearn for. In conclusion, I believe that we ought to seriously consider whether or not we desire AI systems to possess sentience. Because we have been so preoccupied with the buzz surrounding AI sentience, we haven't given ourselves enough time to consider whether or not this is something that we ought to be working for. I am not speaking about the possibility of a sentient artificial intelligence turning against us, as is shown in a large number of dystopian science fiction movies. Simply said, we need to have a crystal clear notion of why we want to achieve something to ensure that our technological advancements are in line with the requirements of society. What would the benefits of AI sentience be, other than the fact that it would be awesome or exciting? Why should we engage in this activity? Who is it going to benefit? Even some of our finest intentions with this technology have been demonstrated to have dangerous side effects, such as a language model-based AI system in medical Q&AMP, encouraging one to commit suicide, and we haven't put sufficient guardrails around them yet. This is a problem. We are very far behind the technology when it comes to understanding, implementing, and employing artificial intelligence responsibly about societal, legal, and ethical considerations. This is the case regardless of whether we are talking about autonomous vehicles or healthcare. I'm concerned that until we have sufficient conversations and resolutions along these lines, hype and misconceptions about artificial intelligence will continue to dominate the common imagination. We may find the antics of the Wizard of Oz entertaining, but in light of the possible issues that may arise as a consequence of these misunderstandings, it is necessary to pull back the curtain and show what, despite appearances, is a less wonderful reality beneath it all. We appreciate your viewing, and we hope you enjoyed the video. How was the video? Did you enjoy it? Post your feedback in our comment section below and subscribe to our YouTube channel Project Ventive for more updates.